appearance, it looks like he was.
I'm just curious. It's like you would think, if you're doing dating sites and all that stuff, there would have to be some kind of attraction when you look at it. I mean, this dude, he just looks like the lost Wyatt brother.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
He just wants to go out. I mean, he just looks like if I was doing it, if that was my thing, and I looked at, I would have like you, I would have been like, nope. I would have backed right the hell off as soon as I saw him at the door. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting a call.
Exactly.
I got to talk to you later.
Yeah, hold on, I got to get something from the car. Jump in that bitch and pull over.
Yeah. Wow.
Those old horror movies where they got the old miner who's always warning the kids not to go up to the warning the kids they should turn around and head back to town now. That's what that dude look like, man.
Oh, man.
He looks like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like you pulled the mask off and it's him. Old Man Withers. I would have ate all of them if it wasn't for you kids. That pesky dog.
I would have ate all the dicks if it wasn't for the police.
Well. Hello, Internet. Hello, Twitch. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shoot the Shit. I am your host, as always, Com, back with another episode. And today, we have a special guest. But first, let's introduce our co-host who was a bit missing last week. Mr. Two Beards. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling well and you're ready to go.
It's all good. Can't complain.
Yeah, and please try not to die on stream like you did while we were playing games the other night.
Hey, it's on history. So if anybody says that I'm trying to lie, I'm like, go to the stream, check the VOD. You can see right here where I'm about to die. So go check it out there.
All right. So tonight for the podcast, we have a special guest. We have Rokku. Rokku, welcome to the show. I guess you could say, give us a little bit of information, where you from, what you do, and a little bit about yourself. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
Well, okay, so more or less all I can say is Rokku. I've been a little bit familiar with some of what's going on with Shoot the Shit, for the most part. And look, I'm here to just bring a whole another perspective. That's really the best thing I can. As far as anything like that, I'm an artist, taking to graphic arts, stuff like that. I'm a big company, I could say. Beyond that, nothing special.
Awesome.
Sounds like one of the guys.
Yep, definitely does. All right, so before we go into the topics, Mr. Two Beers, typically on Friday, we usually do penalties for our Con versus Two Beers series. You lost, and lucky for you, because I'm a busy man, I have not had a chance to post on YouTube yet that video, but it will be up, folks, by Saturday, tomorrow, guaranteed. So, what's your challenge for our next game, sir?
The challenge for the next game is we will both get a GTA 5. We'll do GTA. We would do GTA Online, and the first person who basically dies 10 times will be the person who will have to do the next week's punishment.
Okay, so
and the death can come any way possible. It can come from the random people who are online as well. It can come from either one of us killing each other or by a cop. Doesn't matter.
Gee, this sounds just wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. You know how I feel about GTA. But Yeah, thank you.
You thought I was going to say Tekken 7, didn't you?
No. I thought you would have took a wrestling game, which you know I'm really bad at, the new WWE series. That would have been the smart thing, but
I don't want to play that shit either. Well, I'm going to ask you to play. I'm torturing myself putting that game on.
oh my goodness. Oh. All right, folks. Let's jump into the topics. We got quite a few, and whew. I thought all my notes went bye-bye. I was about to go crazy. All right, so let me real quickly jump into share my screen with everybody. So the first thing I guess we could talk it to is a story that pretty much came out yesterday. Doctor Strange 2, Scott Derrickson, the director, has dropped out. I believe he's getting a executive producer credit from Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of the Madness. There's a lot of speculation coming into why he wants to leave, and a lot of fans have the same speculation, which was recently at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con. Scott Derrickson came out. He stated that Doctor Strange 2 was going to be a horror movie. Everybody was like, oh, wow, yeah, they're happy because, of course, everybody knows Scott Derrickson is known for doing his horror movies. That's where he comes from in terms of his background in directing. And then a few weeks ago, Kevin Feige is in an interview and he's saying, oh yeah, Doctor Strange 2 is not a horror movie. It's just going to have some scary elements. And then 2 weeks later, we see that Scott Derrickson leaves due to, and I'm using air quotes, creative differences. So I'm going to pass this off to you first, Two Beers. What's your thoughts on Scott Derrickson and him leaving Doctor Strange 2? Yes.
It's to be expected. Like, he had his vision for the movie, and at first it seemed like it was approved, and then at first I thought it might have been a Kevin Feige thing, but I think it's not, because it seems that whatever his vision was at the time, Feige was okay with, because it still fit into the scope of his grand plan of where he's doing with, is it Phase 5 or Phase 6 we're going into now?
We're in 5. Phase 4.
Okay.
Phase 4.
Phase 4?
Sure.
I believe 4.
All right, so it fit into his grand vision or whatever it is he wanted Marvel to go at. So this, I'm thinking that maybe some investors got cold feet, or maybe somebody on the board got cold feet, and then they were like, "No, we can't do horror." I hope that's not the case, because then that means that Disney execs might start acting like Warner Brother execs, where they're stepping in to the creative process of the movies.
Okay.
I still don't think it's a big problem, because it's not to the point where it's like Cyborg, Flash, which is like going through like 6 different directors now. So, but one thing that I found interesting was that the guy that they're supposedly eyeing, I forgot the director's name, he's also a horror director. So we'll see how that goes. I hope it's not corporate meddling, but I think maybe that whatever Feige's plan was, he just changed it, and that's why that vision of horror that he had no longer fits. I'd rather have that be the case.
Okay, I somewhat disagree with you. I'll get with you. I'll tell you my opinion first, but let's first hear from Roku. Go ahead, Roku. What's your take on this?
No, I was going to say that I really do think that it's corporate meddling for the most part. I don't think the mouse knows what to do anymore after the fiasco with Star Wars and a TV show outdoing its own a actual motion picture. Like they just lost their minds, and they're right now just trying to figure it out, and they're affecting things that probably don't need to be messed with. That's my legitimate thoughts on that one.
Okay. Fair. I disagree with both of you, and I'm going to say this.
Snap.
I'm going to say this. Feige, as often in... And I got to do rest in peace Collider, because Collider, as we know it, is no longer what it is. I guess we should have probably talked about that too, but I guess we could say that for another show. But used to always say in Feige we trust, and talked about Feige as a god, and I still think that Feige is still of that level. Star Wars is a separate thing. I agree, Roku. Star Wars definitely has Disney and the mouth shook, but as we see, I think they're transitioning it over to Feige, because in Feige they trust. I honestly think that he came in with his first script, and they were like, how are we supposed to sell this to children? Scott Derrickson, who made, Exorcism of Emily Rose and Sinister, was like, hey man, this is what I do. And they probably was a couple of things they asked him to take out, and he was like, no, I'm not going to. And it was like, okay, well, we'll go in a different direction. And I think that's the route that's happening. I think, unfortunately, Disney, with all the money that they've made under the Marvel Studios brand, I think the formula that they have, they want to stick with, and they don't want to stray outside. I don't really think they like to take a lot of risks when it comes to it. You could say, well, they took a risk by making Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, but let's kind of look at what they do. I mean, now they have their stride. They can pretty much introduce any movie, and even if it's not bad, it's still good. It's not. I mean, like Ant-Man.
Not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Ant-Man's making like $500 million. I mean, is it the exceptional billion? No, but still, I mean, Ant-Man.
You're saying that at this point, they might as well take a risk because they have the leeway to do it now.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so go ahead.
But here's the question though. It's like, was the first Doctor Strange aimed towards children? I mean, outside of the magic carpet, I mean, Doctor Strange cape. Could you really say that?
It was family friendly. I'll say it was family friendly.
It was family friendly, but it's one of those things where I got a
superhero inception.
Yeah, I got a feeling that this really needed to have that extra spin because Doctor Strange can go there. That's kind of like the thing about that character. So with a character that can actually touch on a lot of different things, a lot of different dimensional, possibilities, and just look at Dormammu, look at all of the things that they potentially could have done with that. If you give them a chance to roll forward, it could be phenomenal. Like trying to take and focus it on children, they're actually gonna hurt.
And Feige has said that he wants the other Marvel movies basically led into an Avengers sort of thing. He said he wants to do the same thing with the horror part of the Marvel universe. So this could have been a nice place to start.
I mean, it has to be because this is one of those things that whether anybody thinks about it or not, this creates a domino effect of worry for what happens with the next Deadpool movie. Is that going to be PG-13 or PG or what?
They actually announced what they're doing with that, and it's pretty interesting.
And what's that? They're going to do the duel, like they did before.
Yep, they're doing. They'll be doing two Deadpools. The thing is, they're both going to be played by Ryan Reynolds. They will both be the same character. It's just that when he's on his own in his solo movies, he gets to be rated R. But whenever he shows up in a Marvel universe, whether it's an X-Men movie, Avengers movie, any type of Marvel movie, he's regulated to PG-13.
Well, that makes sense. And when you said two Deadpools, I was thinking you were making the two versions of the movie. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing there.
Since he breaks the wall all the time, it'll be pretty interesting if he actually brings up the fact that he can't curse in the other movies whenever he makes a cameo or appears in it.
That's going to be very interesting.
I expect him to do.
It's going to be very interesting because the one issue that always came out with Venom, because Venom was supposed to be towards the rated R thing, was that they were afraid that if they make Venom rated R and then kids and you have Spider-Man crossovers, they're like, they don't want kids to go from a PG-13 movie to a rated R movie because they like a character. So I'm very curious if Disney holds up on that end of the bargain with Deadpool.
I do think that somebody has to fill in there is a moment of out of touch here because I'm not now tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't really see kids playing with toys anymore. Like most people who seem to buy the action figures and stuff like that seem to be older teens to adults who buy them as collectibles and stuff like that, who are fans of the
adults
stuff.
Have the money.
Yeah, so I always find it interesting that they still push it towards kids, but I don't really see kids.
Well,
I really don't see kids with action figures like that anymore.
Keep this in mind. When I say kids, I don't mean actual kids like Nickelodeon. I mean family friendly. So something that the whole family could watch, whether you're young, teenager, or what.
But isn't a big part of that built on merch sales and stuff like that?
Of course, they're still doing it.
For instance, Baby Yoda. Like most of the people who are going to buy that are going to be like teenagers up to old people. I don't really see that there's going to be a bunch of little kids running around with a Baby Yoda plush.
I see it.
You
I
do?
don't see that
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I see that with you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, let's put it this way: you have people who do not care about Star Wars at all, and they see Baby Yoda, and it's like, I want to watch The Mandalorian now. Not for The Mandalorian, for Baby Yoda.
Yep. Keep in mind, he's the biggest meme of 2019 now. He's everywhere. You don't even have to know Star Wars to know the Baby Yoda memes. So yeah, I can see it. And of course, you know my thought on this. This family friendly. I don't think this makes me not want to see Blade, but that's a different topic. You've had arguments
They
years
are
about
gonna
it.
crush Blade.
Yeah, it's going to be family friendly Blade.
They are gonna crush Blade.
I bet they are. They're going to crush some other family friendly.
It's going. We'll see. We'll see, good sir. You only like, oh my god, Blade was the shit. I'm sorry for ever doubting you 2 beers.
If I eat crow, I eat crow. But before we leave, we'll leave one last thought for everybody, and we'll start with Roku first. Do you think Doctor Strange 2 is going to be a success, even under new director? Go with you, Roku.
Let's put it this way: since there hasn't been anything revealed yet for it outside of, well, I can't say nothing, but there's been very little of it so far, as details or anything like that beyond just the director changes and so on and so forth. A lot of people can go into this blind, and not have too much fear. After everything that happened with Avengers Endgame, is pretty much a restart anyway. So,
yep.
What's to lose?
Okay. 2 beers?
At the very least, it'll be an average popcorn flick. I don't think it'll be bad.
Okay. I think this is a little bit different than Ant-Man, which changed directors, because I believe Scott Derrickson is an executive producer because they're probably going to use his script, most likely, or at least parts of it. So I think it's going to be a similar vision to probably what he had, but a slightly different take. So I think it'll still be good. All right. With that said, let's go into topic number 2. And topic 2 is trailers. A lot of trailers came out this week. Let's first start with one that's actually not a movie in a movie theater, but
oh snap!
Let's go with Tyler Perry. Right, Tyler Perry is a very interesting guy because he has good stuff and he has bad stuff. And when I say bad stuff, all I'm going to say is, have you watched The Oval? Anyway. He comes out with a new movie coming on Netflix. In fact, I think it comes out actually next week. It's called A Fall from Grace, where you have a woman, businesswoman, and she falls in love with a guy, and then out of nowhere, all of her business accounts and everything is cleared out. It seems like the guy might be dead. And basically, we don't know what's happening, and she's going to court. Did she kill the guy? Did she steal the money? This is all a coup. What did you guys think of Fall Grace? And I'll start with you, 2 beers.
It's interesting. At first, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's the typical Tyler Perry, all black men are shit movie. But then towards the end of the trailer, like when all of a sudden the gigolo was killed, and then she was still saying that she didn't do it. Then it kind of went into a mystery there, where she makes me feel that it could be a deeper aspect to it. So I'm kind of curious to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it don't cost you anything to watch it. It's Netflix, unless you
exactly.
Go ahead, Roku. Your take on the trailer.
All right, I'm literally right there with 2 beers. I saw this and was like, Tyler Perry doing the stereotypical thing again. Like. It's like I'm so tired of the formula from him that it's just like, I don't care how free it is. I don't even want to. I'm paying for Netflix already, and that's one series I don't even want to think about touching. Or one movie I don't even want to think about. Like, God. Like, I saw that trailer, and that's the first thing that came to mind. It's just like, when is somebody gonna have a come to Jesus moment? And
wow,
what happened to that? Ladies, go get yourself a light skinned man.
like if he drives a bus, you're safe. Let's go.
Wow.
That's. I mean, I have very little hope when it comes down to that. Like, I'm expecting the typical formula, and I'm waiting to see if Tyler Perry will surprise me. I will, just because I already have Netflix, I will consider checking that out and hope he can prove me wrong.
Awesome. Wow, we have some non-Tyler Perry fans. Well, I'll go and say I was actually surprised by the trailer. First off, I was surprised by how serious it looked, because there's a lot of really bad Tyler Perry movies. And I'm not talking about Medea. I'm talking about whatever that one movie was with the woman on the boat. Oh, my goodness. It's some really, really, really bad Tyler Perry movies. But I like the cast. I think the cast is actually pretty good. They got my boy, I always call him Eggs, Macabre Brooks, and Eggs coming from True Blood, because that's where I first saw him ever. So he'll always be known as Eggs to me. Him with that box, I kind of laughed at it. It looked kind of goofy.
Yeah.
But aside from that, him playing that sinister boyfriend role, husband role, I actually enjoyed it. And I like the mystery of it, right? So for me, I'll probably definitely be checking it out and seeing what it's like. And with that said, let's move over to the next trailer that we got, which is New Mutants, which is very interesting because when Disney first acquired Fox, New Mutants was on the radar as being a Hulu movie and a Hulu exclusive. And out of nowhere, we get a trailer for New Mutants. So I'm going to go with you, Roku. What did you think of the New Mutants trailer?
Well, when I saw that trailer, I was thinking, oh, this is the horror movie that almost never was. Great. I was just sitting there thinking, like, I saw the trailer and I was thinking about the original one, and I was this is not going to be like the horror thriller that I was thinking about, especially because it dawned on me as the movie trailer went on. I was just like, wait a minute, they're mutants. They have powers. They fight horrors all the damn time. What this is going to be a run-of-the-mill X-Men movie with a little bit more jump scares. That's literally it.
That's fine.
Interesting take.
That's fine. Go ahead, Two Beers.
Now, when this trailer dropped, I was like, what? I had to look a couple of times at my screen. I was looking forward to say a couple of years ago. I was like, oh no, it's new. So I'm like, that's weird. So then I clicked on it and watched it, and I'm like, oh, this actually looks fun. And now one of the things I'm curious about, because I read the same things that you did, that one, it was going to be a Hulu exclusive, and then after they dropped that, there was it may just still show up on Disney Plus just for extra content to be on there. And it looks like, no, it's like they're putting it in theaters, so maybe somebody has some faith in this after all. So I was like, that's very, very interesting. I went back after you told me that somebody told you that they think this is based off of the Demon Bear story, which is a very, very good New Mutants arc comic. I went back and then I looked through the trailer and I'm like, snap. Because at first, I wasn't even paying attention to the monster. I'm like, snap, it does look like the Demon Bear, because before that I was just looking at the blood bleeding on the walls and everything like that. And one of the audience members who always stops by normally, Payne, he thought it was the Shadow King. And I was like, maybe it is the Shadow King. But now it's like it makes much more sense because Danielle Proudstar, she's the most prominent person in the trailer, seems to be focused on her. So it makes sense that it's the Demon Bear story. And if they do it if they do it even remotely like the comic, a lot of people are going to be very pleased with this movie. Awesome.
I enjoyed the trailer. So you don't have to be a full horror movie, right? You could have horror aspects of it. Think like Brightborn, even though I haven't seen it, but you can have horror aspects to movies. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, what do they have to lose with it? I mean, they already tanked with Phoenix, which was atrocious. So any money that you can make in the theater is just going to help with the debt that you already have from all the reshoots. But I did I'm curious as to what version we're going to get. I did tell Two Beers a little bit of history about the movie. The director for New Mutants, and the director is what is his name? It is Josh Boone. Josh Boone wanted to do a horror aspect of the movie. They said, okay, go ahead. Fox gave him money. And then in the middle of shooting, they're like, Yeah, we wanted to be more aligned with the X-Men movie, so let's take out the horror aspects. So he had to rechange the script and rechange everything, redo the movie itself. They cut the first trailer, which is horror-esque, and then everybody's like, oh, this is going to be great as a horror movie. And then Fox is like, oh, geez, people think it's going to be a horror movie and they want horror. So then they spend a whole bunch of money reshooting the film to put it back to the way Josh Boone originally intended the movie to be.
Oh, God,
which I like to call Fox fuckery. So I'm very curious as to which version of this movie we're going to get. Is it going to be, and according to Josh Boone, the director, when they put out this trailer, they said it's going to be more aligned to his original vision. So I'm guessing it's going to be the one with the reshoots itself. I'm curious. I'm very curious. Even if it's just an X-Men movie with horror aspects, I think it'll still be interesting.
Do you think if it does well that they'll potentially use it as a backup jump on point to get them into the MCU?
No.
And I mean mutants as a whole, not just.
No. I'm going to tell you this right now. If it's good, the only time you'll ever see these guys are in Deadpool. That's it. It'll be cameos. Yeah, it'll be just cameos. They'll come by and be like, oh, let's get the X-Men. Oh, I can't afford them, but hey, you guys sold a pretty good movie. The other ones suck for X-Men, so you're part of our team now. It'll be something silly like that. That's the only time you'll ever see it. That's it. This is. I believe this is a one and done.
Yeah, it's a positive. It's a high probability.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say, I think the X-Men are they're either coming through either WandaVision, the Doctor Strange movie, which the WandaVision show is supposed to tie into, or they're going to come in during the Eternals.
I'm leaning towards the last Eternals. I think Eternals is going to be the jumpstart like it was in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said that Eternals is going to change everything.
Yeah, so I'm expecting either one of those three will be the jump-on point for mutants to appear in the Marvel U.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Speaking of horror, let's actually go to a horror movie that you actually posted, Two Beards. Gretel and Hansel, which is a horror fantasy take on the old famous Hansel and Gretel title. Almost same title, just reversed. And it's being directed by Oz Perkins. Rokku, what was your take on the Gretel and Hansel trailer, sorry.
It's like, I feel like I'm coming across as a super negative guy right now.
No, let the hate
flow. My first take on it was, this is just another girl power movie at first, because the first thing I noticed was, it's like, is this the little kid from It that bust his head on the police barrier? Oh. It's like, I mean, it's like the boy was just a complete moron from on first take. I'm like, all right, I kind of see. Let's just go ahead and let it happen. And this movie just looks like it's gonna have some pretty good, fear factor going for it. Some good jump scares. Some good horror element. But I'm just literally sitting there thinking like, girl power. Why can't we just get a good movie? Pushing an agenda.
Your mic's starting to cut out just a little bit, sir. Just to let you know. Yeah, you're robotizing.
Oh no! I just took and said, like, can we just get a good movie instead of one pushing an agenda?
Okay. Two Beards.
I'm interested. I've never actually read the actual Grimm fairy tale, so I don't know how the real tale goes.
Mm-hmm.
But the trailer made it seem like the witch is grooming Gretel to become a witch. Like instead of eating both Hansel and Gretel, it seems like she's trying to make her eat her own brother.
Yeah.
I kind of got towards the end of the trailer, which was pretty weird. So I was like, huh. So yeah, I'm curious to see where they're going at with it. I'm probably not gonna. I don't know. I might catch it on the matinee, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm actually gonna go pay like full price to go see it. But I am interested in it.
I agree with you. I think from a movie standpoint, for me, I think visually it looks stunning, right?
Yes.
It kind of gives me the witch vibes when I look at it. I think for that part alone, I think it looks pretty good. I'll check it out when it drops on Netflix. I'm not running to the theater to go see it, but you know, and the cast is pretty good. You got Alice Krige as Hulda, basically the witch herself, and for those who don't know Alice Krige, she's the Boar Queen in Star Trek, folks. Yeah. So you know, it's like, wow, they got the Boar Queen as the witch. So you know me, as being a Star Trek head, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sold.
That's pretty damn cool. I didn't even know that was her.
Yeah, that actually is really cool.
Yeah, and Gretel's being played by Sophia Lillis, which is the girl from It. So yeah, I'm definitely all about that. I'm like, oh, you got Bev from It too as your other second main character. So yeah, I'm cool with it. It's like I said, this is something that I'll take a look at. Before we go to the last trailer, one thing I did forget to bring up about New Mutants. And this is actually something that my brother brought up to me, so don't jump on me like, Con, here you go bringing race in this shit. But let's talk about one thing, right? So an interesting thing is that in the trailer you have Alice Braga, right? And she's playing Dr. Cecilia Reyes. Now in comic books, Dr. Cecilia Reyes is normally a dark-skinned Hispanic woman because she's mixed, both black, and she has dreads. So you have this light-skinned Hispanic woman looking at it. And people are going, well, what's the difference? They're Hispanic. Well, one of the things that I wanted to cover back in our P3 days that we will get around to in this one is colorism in Hollywood. And and one of the big issues, and there's a lot of darker skinned Hispanic women who come in and talk about how they're never allowed to get any roles in movies because all the roles go to lighter skinned Hispanic women. A lot of them go to, you know, and they just can't get the roles. So do you think this... No one, of course, is saying anything because I don't think most people really know who the character is.
They did the same thing to Roberto as well. I actually brought that up.
Yes. Oh, you did? Okay.
Brian and Keith. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are your takes on it?
I was like, damn, they couldn't find no dark-skinned Brazilian brothers to play the role. Because Roberto's dark as fuck in the comics.
Yes.
So I'm like, this dude is Telemundo light. So
yes.
I'm like, I don't. So like, I've tried to put my piece to with things like this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, as long as the actor is good, and at least as long as they're trying to, long as they're trying to get the race right. Like, I've been kind of, I've been kind of like putting that as a compromise.
Yeah.
But like they really do, like, this was like especially for countries like Brazil, if they get to see this movie where they have a huge colorism problem there.
Yeah.
Like it might have been nice for the darker Brazilians to actually see themselves portrayed as strong characters on the screen. Because it's like, I mean, they went out of their way. They cast Wolfsbane perfectly. They cast Sam Guthrie perfectly, and they cast Elena Rasputin. My God, she stepped right out of the comic book pages like that. They got the bangs and everything on her. I'm like, damn, they did damn good with Elena. Yeah. So I'm like, a couple shades darker wouldn't hurt. So yeah, I wish they had gone that route and actually cast somebody darker. Yeah. But let's just say that they were wide open casting and like and they did have a bunch of people come in of all shades, and it was just those two actors were the ones who knocked it out of the park. Then I accept that, So it's like,
okay.
What can you do?
Yeah, Rokku, anything on this?
Oh God, this is a can of worms. This right here is a whole can of worms. Oh gosh. So, at first I'm sitting here thinking like, you know what? They want to keep, all of the Afrocentrics out of this movie. Cool. That means that's one less person that's going to die first.
Wow.
I mean, look, come on. Let's just be realistic. In movies like these, movies and horror movies in general, like assuming even and granted, this probably isn't going to be a horror movie. But in horror movies in general, the only way the black guy survives is if there's more. So there can be only one. the Highlander will still stand. So,
Wow.
I mean, look, if they want to push, the whole light skin thing and designer baby thing and all that other stuff, you know what? I don't even care anymore. It's Hollywood. I expect at this point.
Yep. And I kind of agree to it too. I think it's definitely an issue. I know, like I've talking to Two Beards and my wife and my brother, who's very big on it, about like even Storm, right? And he's like, dude, can we actually get a dark skin Storm in X-Men finally? Dude, why do we gotta get these Halle
I think we're
Berry?
gonna finally get it now that it's through Marvel.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
That was just Bryan Singer's personal preference. He was like, Darky's ill. He was casting for. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna finally get a dark skin Chica.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. It was an interesting take, and I know it's very big. Like, we don't see it from our community when we look at movies. That it's probably not the first thing that comes to mind, but for a lot of Hispanic actresses, because this is more an issue, I think, that impacts a lot more the females than the males. We do have some, dark-skinned males like Giancarlo and others, but it seems like definitely for females, and I've heard a lot of darker-skinned females talk about it, how they can't get roles, they can barely do modeling. It's a lot of issues because Hollywood and the not American, but basically the world public believes the lighter you are, the more beautiful you are, the darker you are, the uglier you are. So they usually cast on those type of things. So
Tale as old as time.
Yep.
No, a tale as old as what? 1500s. Let's keep it 100. A tale as old as 1500s.
And well, let's get to our last trailer, the one that just came out. Warner Brothers have just released the last and final trailer to Birds of Prey, which is an R-rated movie, even though they did not release an R-band last trailer for it. And it actually comes out in less than a month, February 7th. I'm going to start with you, Roku. What's your take and your feels on the Birds of Prey trailer and the Birds of Prey movie?
You know what? As far as the Birds of Prey trailer, and my feeling for the movie as a whole right now, just off of this trailer, this was the one trailer that I was genuinely like, you know what, this actually intrigued. This looks like an actually good Charlie's Angels movie. Plus, I don't know, but like it seems like it's going to capture at the very least a very good feel for the characters. Like, I felt that the moment I saw Harley Quinn blast the guy in the face with a slug made out of bubble gum. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, chalk up the fact that they actually started the trailer off by hopefully blowing up the Jared Leto Joker. We're
I'll mess up with that. Hope we don't even get a cameo in the movie. We just assume he's in the truck getting blown up.
I hear there's going to be a stand-in. It's going to be a stand-in for him, similar to Superman in the Shazam movie.
Okay.
Wow. But that trailer actually really intrigued me enough that I would actually say, like, I don't think I'd pay full price for it, but that is definitely what I think I might go see. Just out of curiosity.
Nice. Wow, that's positive. Good vibes. Two Beards.
A lot of my faults actually mirror his. Like the first one that we were talking about, even though I thought the first trailer had some good fun parts in it, it seemed so lowbrow and low budget. Like I agree when you said it felt like you were watching a trailer for a CW show.
Yeah.
This time around with trailer 2, they came out of the park full cylinder swinging. It was a lot of fun. The only part that bothered me out of the whole trailer was when she was ramming the guy's head into the steering wheel. Whoever the actor was, it seems like he was like fighting her on it, like he wasn't actually taking the brunt, so it kind of made the choreography look weird.
Bad sell, like we say in wrestling.
Yeah, bad sell of it. But other than that, like it's looking very enjoyable. The comedy's looking off the charts. I don't even mind the fact that they've completely changed Cassandra Cain's character around.
Yeah.
She's my favorite Batgirl, basically. So,
Yeah.
I'm curious to see why they decided to make her this way in this movie. Black Canary as a black woman is interesting. A lot of people are gonna cry and bitch about that.
I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah, they're probably like cutting themselves whining right now. Looks pretty fun. My wife wants to go see it, so we'll probably hit a matinee up for it.
Cool.
But yeah, over to that, I'm actually interested.
Well, here comes the negative.
What about you, sir?
Here comes the negative. Here comes the negative. Okay. As two viewers alluded, the first trailer to me looked like a CW take. I just could not stand what I was seeing. I was like, dude, this is disgusting. And then I looked at this trailer, and I don't know. I think I think I understand what the problem is. When I look at this trailer and what they wanted to do, they were successful in what they wanted to do, but it's unsuccessful for me, which is to try to make it look like Suicide Squad. I just got Suicide Squad. I
got that feeling a little bit too.
And my memories, Suicide Squad just made me go, ugh. I'm not for this. So I don't know. I think it may surprise me. I mean, when I first saw most of the Joker trailers, they didn't really do anything for me. And then I saw the movie and I was like, wow, this is fucking amazing. So I'm hoping I get that feel from it where it's like, yep, I'm going in thinking it's going to be crap. And you know what? Hey, it was actually not that bad. It was actually pretty good. But for me looking at it, when I look at her, I know she's Harley Quinn. I just don't get the vibe. I don't know what it is. I just don't get it. And she's doing everything that's Harley Quinn, but for me, just seeing it on the screen, it's like I don't know. It's just a disconnect somewhere for it. And all the other characters, I'm like, it doesn't feel like Birds of Prey to me. It feels like, hey, I'm Harley Quinn, come be in my movie. Even though it's called Birds of Prey.
I'm very surprised Poison Ivy's not in it, to be honest with you.
That's the next movie, which is The Sirens.
Is that also going to have Margaret Robbie in it?
Yep. And that movie is
all over the place.
Yeah, so the word came out that Bright, and I didn't put it in our thing to cover it, but the director of the original Suicide Squad, I believe, was also the director of Bright. David Ayers. Yeah, David Ayers. Mm-hmm. He's supposedly doing Gotham City Sirens. And he said
he ain't learned his lesson yet.
No, so he said, wait. He said that Bright 2, the Netflix movie, is in production. They're working on it, but Birds of Prey is currently on hold, and I think they're waiting to see what this movie does before they greenlight and say go ahead. But yeah,
I'm sorry, like yo. If you take my movie, I had a clear narrative I had a clear script and everything, and you have like a fucking music video company come in and edit my shit, and then put it up there, it's your fault. You're the failure. Hey, we come back and direct this next movie. Fuck you. I ain't directing shit.
Oh,
direct these balls. Oh, good, yeah. I'm still scared as much as I love that Wonder Woman trailer because it took so long. It got delayed so many times, and they even held the trailer off. I'm afraid Warner Brothers has stepped in and did some of their magic to that movie as well.
Yeah, think about this. Wonder Woman 84 is probably just as old as New Mutants.
Yep.
So we're talking like 2 years old
from
when it was done.
It's like they see the blueprint in front of them. It's like, hey, when we don't mess with the creative team, the movies do well. Hey, when we mess with the creative team, we get Fantastic Four, we get Suicide Squad.
Yep.
We get Batman v Superman. We get Justice League. So I don't understand.
Well, when you're an investor and you're putting millions of dollars in, I guess you want to have your say and come in with the big balls to say, yeah, this needs to be tailored the way I like it. So that's the only thing I could think of.
Super quick note. This reminds me of this sort of thing. Reminds me of back in the day, Captain America was flailing as a comic and it was crashing hard. Like they had stupid storylines. Like there was There was Cap Wolf when he would turn into a werewolf and dump like anything they could try to think of to actually get Captain America back on top.
Wow.
Yeah, Cap Wolf. So
Cap by night.
There was even the point where he lost his super soldier serum, so they had him wearing armor, but it looked like football armor. It was terrible. So Mark Waid and Ron Garney come in and they completely revamp the character. It shoots up to a top 10 selling comic book, because Mark Waid is that damn good when it comes to comic book writing, and Ron Garney's an amazing comic artist. The sales are popping off the charts, and then it's like Mark Waid is like, he gets a call from Marvel for a urgent meeting, and he expects they're gonna come in and be like thanking him for making a top 10 book again. He's like, it's a bunch of guys who sit down and they're like, all right, we're gonna show you how to not mess this up so you don't lose the sales that we're getting on Captain America.
Wow.
And he was like, and they wanted him to, they were like, all right, so kids are in the energy projection, so Captain America's going to have an energy shield now.
Wow.
Yeah. And Mark Waid was like, if I had a revolver with me, he was like, I'd probably be in jail at the end of that meeting. So I was like, yeah. I was like,
wow.
So when I see the sort of stuff that happens now in these movies and stuff like that, my mind always reverts back to that story. That sheer stupidity of investors and people who feel that they know better than the creative minds that are doing it. It's like all you have to do is worry about the budget. All you have to do is worry about the finances, the contracts, and make sure the paperwork is done in the cities and stuff like that. Let the creative people that you hired to create, let them create. I don't think it's that hard.
But you know what? Warner Brothers has no excuse for any of these bad superhero movies. It's like, unlike Marvel, every one of their animated movies has been halfway decent to incredible. Like, why don't they just get the guys who are obviously better at writing scripts with these animated films to just do the live action ones and say, here, let the people that know how to do it do it.
Because they'll step in and mess that up too. That's what they do. No, it's like, you know that Zack Snyder had to leave Justice League because his daughter died, unfortunately. So why are you going to take the exact polar opposite of that guy and have Josh Whedon come in to finish the movie? Those styles contrast way too hard.
Two beers. Let's be honest. He did not leave. We all know he did not leave with WB because his daughter died. He was on the out after Batman v Superman bombed, and they vested all that money into him in the series. And they're like, "Oh fuck, Batman v Superman," which was supposed to be $1 billion movie, came out
been $1 billion movie.
Yeah, it came out to nothing. And they're in the middle of filming Justice League, and they're like, "Fuck, what do we do? Start rolling everything back. Let's get Jeff Johns to come in and redo the Wonder Woman script. Let's do this, let's do that." So I think that's more of what happened. And unfortunately, his daughter dying was the scapegoat that they used to say, "Oh yeah, he has to take time to back off."
Well, damn. Which, hey, like those characters are iconic names, so it's like they should have. And people saying Batman fighting Superman is like, that's like a comic book nerd's dream that they thought they would never see happen actually in film. So the fact that should have pushed $1 billion easy. So they really dropped the ball on that one, and I feel they'll continue to drop in the ball. So it's like, I'm hoping that because Patty said that she's actually staying on to do another movie, and you said a spinoff at that, as well.
Yep.
I'm hoping that is a positive sign that even though that the movie was delayed and the trailer was delayed, that she got her final say of what goes into the final edit of the movie. So that's what I'm hoping.
Hopefully. But we all know, the trilogy is handling, the Trinity is handling the new DCU supposedly, which is the new Trinity, which is supposed to be J.J. Abrams, Matt Ryan. That's the guy who's doing the new Batman movie, I think that's his name.
Reeves.
Matt Reeves. No, Matt Reeves.
Okay.
Matt Reeves. Your boy James Gunn. That's supposed to be the new trilogy of people who are going to be handling the new DCEU that they're kind of creating.
Gunn's a great choice. especially since he helped engineer the majority of the Marvel universe. Reeves is an excellent choice as well.
Abrams got you. You can't be mad at Abrams. Abrams is good with starting stuff. He's just not good with finishing.
Yeah, that's my problem. It goes into his TV shows as well. Like he's good for creating a narrative. He's good for actually creating intrigue. He's a hell of a director. He shoots some beautiful ass shots. Yeah, but it's like
those beautiful lens flares.
It seems like he can't, like you said, he can't stick the landing. He also he seems to really try to play it super safe all the time. Yeah, like he's afraid of upsetting the fans, so he always goes in a territory where he thinks the fans exactly want to see.
Well, we won't go into Star Wars, but actually no, that was more. You're right, that was still more towards the fans, even though it pissed people off. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So his whole thing is just put him in the first movie or something, and then just take him off.
Yep, I agree. Put him on first movie, then take him off. Exactly, Roku.
But isn't that how they ended up with the mess that they're in now?
No.
I mean, you got a good start. You have to know where you want to end it too, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm like.
That's the problem with planning.
If he wasn't so afraid of what people thought, if he had actually continued off of what Rian Johnson did in the second movie, wouldn't the third movie not be as? Oh no! What am I saying? People are gonna hate. It's a Star Wars movie. They're gonna hate it no matter what it was.
No. You started a point that I want to get to, but here's the thing, though. How do you, and this is a mild spoiler for those who haven't seen The Last Jedi, how do you continue off of Ryan's point? You killed the main bad guy. I mean, he did what he could do. You killed him. They're like, oh yeah, introduce a new threat. Oh yeah, you offed him in the dumbest way in the movie.
In a comedy skit sort of way.
Yeah, what do you do? Outside of saying, okay, yeah, maybe Kylo Ren is the new threat. I mean, outside of going that route. You know, that's the only thing you could have did. I mean,
I think that's where he should have went.
I mean, Ryan. I think Ryan was like, you know what? I'm not going to be here next movie, so fuck it. I'm just going to do what the fuck I want to do.
He looked at JJ's notes. He was like, trash. Yep.
Poor the woman from Game of Thrones who played Phantasm or Phasm. You know, they're like, oh, maybe she could come back. She was like, nope, I'm good. You don't hear her name. You don't see anything from her.
They jobbed her 2 movies though.
I know.
I mean, it's like, why in the hell come up with this cool ass design?
Yep.
Like I've never seen something like a Chrome Trooper before, and she get jobbed twice.
Yep.
And that's the kind of thing that made me kind of feel like it's too many. I'm sorry, we're diving off into other stuff. Let's get back on that.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah. We're going off. So let's go back on track. So we did Birds of Prey. So we were talking about Warner Brothers. So let's bring up Warner Brothers, right? So Warner Brothers now just engineered a deal with Synalytics, which I see what you did. Cinema Analytics, Synalytics. Which is a company that's using AI. So they partner with Synalytics, and they're going to use AI-driven algorithms to help them decide what movies to greenlight and who to cast in their movies. Now, Warner Brothers has done a lot of stupid shit, and I don't know if this AI is the best way of going and saying, yeah, we're going to cast you because a machine said, yes, it'll make money. So
exactly.
So go ahead, Two Beers. I'll let you start off with this topic.
That shit had me dying, man. They're going to end up with cats and shit like that. So you're going to let an algorithm that's creeping through comments and stuff like that. You're going to allow that to decide your creative team, your director, and which movie people want to see. Oh, you know what? I'm here for it. It's going to be a fucking train wreck, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'm so here for it. Oh shit.
Oh no. Oh no. Go ahead, Roku. Go ahead, man.
Like I looked at that and said, just when you think they can't do anything dumber, wait, here's one. I mean, this is gonna be horrible. Like, you're just gonna let's put it this way. Let's assume that this thing works the way it's supposed to. You're gonna have every major Hollywood actor in one movie, and it's that'll be the best thing that happens because it'll bankrupt the hell out of them, and it'll stop stop this from happening ever again. They don't have enough money for this. It will stop this from happening.
Oh my goodness, dude! Could you imagine how racist this is going to be?
Oh,
it's gonna be like let's do a movie on Martin Luther King. Well, currently Leonardo DiCaprio has a top grossing thing of this, so let's get Leonardo DiCaprio. But Martin Luther King is black. Well, 98% of most movies have a Caucasian male lead, so let's throw that in there. Let's get Robert. Let's get Robert De Niro as Mother Teresa.
Scarlett Johansson as Malcolm X.
Hey, she's already trying to play that role. We all know this.
Oh shit!
God! Oh my God! I mean,
they're gonna be calling up. They're gonna be calling up Will Smith and Wesley Snipes for like fucking chauffeur roles and shit. The algorithm picked the perfect spot for you. Morgan Freeman, we have a butler open. Would you like to come and audition?
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh, that's too good. I get to say poor Warner Bros. They just continuously just keep fucking up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I think they get turned on by it at this point.
Probably. Oh man. All right. We covered that. Let's speak of technology. Let's go into something a little bit more positive. The CES show 2020 was just this week. A lot of good stuff. For those who don't know what CES is, it's a consumer electronics show. Like E3, it's always it's in Nevada, similar to the old school E3, where it's a trade show where investors come in, they look at all the new products that will be launching within that year or a couple of years. They decide whether or not they want to support it. A lot of prototypes, a lot of good stuff comes out of CES. And like where E3 is all video games, CES is all consumer electronics. So we get to see all the newest and greatest electronics that may be coming to us within the next 10 years, right? They usually do it from there. So CES has some really, really cool stuff. I mean, we even had Sony showing that they're doing cars, which is kind of nuts. But I'm going to go with you two, Beards. Tell me like one or two of the things that you saw at the CES that had you hyped, and what did you like about the show this year?
It was interesting. It was last year was kind of a clown show. So this year was they actually had a couple of things that actually caught my eye. I know you said one or two. I'm going to try to fly through these real quick.
Okay.
I actually like the what Razer's doing with its line of phone controllers. Like they upgraded past the Jungle Cat, and they showed something called the Kishi, which actually fits more phones. And it basically, like to anybody who wonders what I'm talking about, it turns it'll turn your cell phone into basically a Nintendo Switch. So if you're doing cloud gaming of any sort, or streaming to your phone, you'll actually have a comfortable game. And they actually have the diagonal analog setup, and they actually have the shoulder buttons and everything. It looks very comfortable and it looks pretty cool. Outside of that, the Sony thing, the Sony car thing, I thought was very interesting. And not because they're not actually the thing I found very interesting about it was like they're not making cars, but they actually built a whole car just to show car developers how good their tech works inside of a car.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty interesting. Except for the whole dashboard, the entertainment dashboard in the front where they said it will help with driving information and entertainment. That can cause a lot of accidents. So, like, I didn't think that was too much of a good idea. But outside of that, scooting right on to LG, LG I found interesting because they were the first people to finally say that 8K is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that surprised me that they actually let that come out of their mouth, and they were saying that something that I've been saying forever. They said the human eye cannot see 8K, so they said what we're going to do is we're breaking the pixels down to a different way, so that the human eye will actually be able to get the benefits and see a big leap in difference between the previous revolution. So I thought that was pretty cool that they actually came out and said that. My favorites of the show were. My favorites of the show was Intel and Razer's modular PCs. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt that PC should always have been like this from the jump. Like, they made the upgrading your PC so easy that your grandma can do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful that, like, hey, if I'm going to upgrade my PC, I can either just pull it out like a book and stick a new one in for a higher power computer, or I can just pull the book out, open it up, and move around a few pieces if I want to just tweak it a little bit. So I think that's freaking beautiful. Like seeing electronics go consumer first. I'm always a big fan of that. Yeah. Another favorite of mine was the Hydro Loop, which is basically a super powered water filter, which basically will recycle all the water in your home and will allow you to basically go off of hundreds of gallons of water of your own home. It'll cut down your water bill. It'll allow you, and basically it's one of those things that not only helps the environment, but it's something that we should have had in houses a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome. And the last thing was somebody made a smartwatch. I forgot what company it is, but the smartwatch they made, besides doing the usual tracking your heartbeat and steps and stuff like that, this one has been upgraded to actually being able to notice how much if you're dehydrated and you need water. It also, if you're wearing it in your sleep, it can check for signs of sleep apnea.
Yeah.
So I like that's pretty cool. So those were my takeaways.
Okay.
And then there was the stuff that I laughed at, like the like Bully, which
wait. Let's other people talk, sir.
Oh, my bad.
Gosh, man, right. Go ahead, Roku. I mean, you're going through the whole show and not letting nobody talk about anything. Go ahead, Roku.
Oh, okay. So for me personally, I try to avoid the majority of the expected things. Like the phone stuff, the computer stuff, video card stuff, the TV stuff. I kind of tried to avoid that just because it's expected. Like, it's 2020. If your phone is folding, you're doing something wrong. Chances are you probably broke.
Yeah.
So the things that caught my attention the most were, one, it was by, I believe it's Delta. And I really think the company that they bought really should have rethought their name. It was called Misapplied Sciences. Now, the tech that they... Yes, it is. The tech that they were showcasing, which is why I felt as though they really should not have used that name, because it definitely could have been used for something better, it's tech that already exists, but they're upping it from 10 screens to 100 screens where multiple people can look at the same monitors and see different information.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to test this out more so for airports, just to, make it easier for travelers to take and, locate, find their flights and so on and so forth. And I'm like, that's really cool. As someone who's starting to do more traveling, that's a really cool proposition. I mean, like, granted, you have to opt into it, but, the idea of 100 people being able to stare at the same screen and see completely different information, that's kind of cool. It's a little creepy, but it's a little cool at the same time. The other thing that caught my eye was this dream project from Toyota, in which they were going to take a 175-acre plot of land and turn it into a futuristic test city.
Yes.
That's incredible. I was like, that's like that sounds incredible. Like all the way down to the way that they're laying the streets out for high speed, low speed, and pedestrian traffic. The way they're trying to set up the housing spaces, just to be the most technologically advanced setup that they can possibly do. I'm like, this is some Minority Report, Jetsons future. You pick it, it's probably that type of stuff. Let's make it happen. I mean, essentially, Toyota's pretty much making LexCorp City, but let's just. I mean, like, I'm willing to give it a shot if they can make it.
Okay, dope. And yeah. Okay. Me, I love all the AI stuff. So for me, it's anything with AI, where is always usually the stuff that always gets me. Two Beards show, well, one thing first. I'll say first, a non-AI thing was Segway's little travel chair. I know it sounds as dumb as Wally. I know you showed it to me, but I don't know why that thing is so freaking. It's like I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, I can imagine the future where everything's on like conveyor belts and you just get out, you sit in your old Wally Segway pod, and you just go to where you need to go to, and that's what it is. That's how you work. No one gets up. But that's a little bit on the silly side. The two other things I liked, and it came from Samsung, was first was the Bally that I was showing, the little ball. At first I thought it was very creepy and silly, but then I started thinking about all the little applications where this thing can actually be pretty cool and what you could do with it afterwards. So right now, as it being a little ball, it seems weird, but imagine if you have like little mobile model dogs and pets and different things, because they did show a lot of like the soothing. I thought was weird, the cat that you could pet that had no head. Leave it up to Japan, but I understand the properties of it, right? It's just for like soothing, petting, hearing the purrs, the different things that mentally will make you calm down. But the mobile assistant just seemed interesting. Like, imagine like going to work and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, send a message to my wife, this and that, and it goes and does it. Or you're sitting there, you're going to you're an old person, you start cooking, you fall down, you're having a heart attack, and it could automatically touch you and see that you're having a heart attack, dial 911, unlock the doors when the cops come, little things like that. I think I'm looking at more of the futuristic applications of it, even though this is at the beginning of it. And then which is really, really weird, the next thing is the refrigerator with artificial intelligence.
Oh yeah.
It just sounds so weird, but it's like these are the applications where AI, I think, will exceed to be used in, right? It's just normal stuff that you look at, you understand, and you do, right? To be able to look and see if things are automatically bad, if they're fresh, to be able to look in and say, yeah, well, you always drink milk. I could tell that your milk is low. Shall I put on your Amazon list, an order for milk within a week because you'll be done it? Just little stuff that sees mannerisms of what you do, and it does it for you for the little things, and you move on. So these are the interesting things that I want to see out of it. I was a little bit disappointed with the Samsung Neon digital avatars. I was hoping for a little bit more out of it. And from what I saw from a lot of people, they said, at least I know they said, well, they just started on it. But I think that's going to be interesting when you have I just imagine in the future, you have all the TVs are there. They're all, all vertical, and you got the walk-in assistants with you in your household. You have no walls. All of it's all basically just computer screens, and you basically could turn it on and you can see outside and it goes clear, or it darkens and you can see the news. And this I'm looking at all this like a walk-in assistant who walks with you and helps you with things. I'm seeing the future. I'm just a little disappointed with where we are now, but the hopes of it, it's like, yeah, man, next year we'll get there in a few years. And then of course I like the idea of everything going electric, right? In terms of cars, I think that's the way we should go, and I hope that we can meet this 2030 no carbon ideology in future, where we're no longer driving gas guzzling cars, and that's one less thing that we have to worry about. Because I don't know if any of you have ever driven in like a Tesla or any other electric cars. It's definitely the future, and it's definitely where you want to be, right? You ain't got to worry about oil changes and all these other mechanical issues. You know, you have issues, don't get me wrong, everything does, but it's just like, wow, you knock out so much cost, and when you look at gas and everything else, it's just like, yeah, we'll probably have less wars because we're not fighting over anything. It'll be more of, all right, who has lithium? Let's go start a war over there. Whoever has lithium, let's get our hands on the lithium because that's the most important thing.
We were stopping an imminent attack. It was gonna happen. Trust me, I wouldn't lie.
The old-fashioned stuff. Oh, there's brown.
The lower lithium is just a side effect.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Thank you for bringing up that car thing, man.
Yeah. So I mean, anything else y'all want to add before we change topics? I'll leave it up to you guys.
The Roku, when he brought up the whole like the Toyota, the thing Toyota's doing.
Yes.
Honda is doing something not as ambitious, but they're planning on making an actual hub community where there'll be flying cars. They actually have they actually have medical facilities that look like little trolley carts that are electric based, and it's like while you're in there, they said that you can actually have a nurse in there or a doctor or assistant actually providing you full health care on your way to medical facilities if it's some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Emergency. Sheesh.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, is car companies like building these like communities? Is that the new wave? Is that what? Is that what they're all doing now?
Well, that's the thing. Like, when I was looking into the Toyota situation, I'm like, they actually have it planned to break ground in 2021.
Yeah, I was like, that's awesome.
With the idea of 2000, at least 2000. I'm pretty sure. I remember hearing that it was 2,000 people expected to be able to live there, with the intention of them actually living there, and like not just a prototype. Like they actually intend to live in this community to viably see that this is a thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, it's about time. But yeah, it's just that it's interesting because it's like you never. I guess that's, you can always say that's been true throughout the years, that like the technological steps forward, they always come from the most unlikely places.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, like whoever thought that that car companies would be the one that's trying to push us towards the cities of tomorrow. So yeah, I'm very interested.
Yeah,
finally getting back to the future.
Hopefully. Yep. Hopefully.
Pun intended. Pun intended.
Yeah, I want my hoverboard.
Oh man. So next topic is a little bit different. We got Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes, and we'll just say that Ricky pretty much gave zero fucks while hosting the Golden Globes. He was just going in. He didn't care, and some of the looks on some of these actors' faces, like Tom Hanks and so forth, was just priceless with some of the stuff that he was saying. I'm going to go off with you, Two Beers, first. Do you think Ricky Gervais's jokes in to this year's 2020 Golden Globes, were they too harsh, and did you find it funny?
I found it hilarious, and I don't think they're harsh. It's basically because I'm from an older, less sensitive time period. When I see this is the sort of stuff that I'm used to. Like, it's not as harsh as, say, Paul Mooney or Richard Pryor, but it's like those are the type of jokes that I grew up on, when there was like. As long as it was funny, you could get away with saying something a bit more risky. I was down with it. I thought it was funny. It was all get out. And plus, it was like the stuff he was saying was true. So
because it's true, it makes it even funnier, huh?
Depends on how you lay it.
Go ahead, Roku. I'll let you go ahead and take your comments, your thoughts on it.
Oh man, all I can say is just starting off. He must have started his night early because he literally just was like, "A like pregame is in, let's go." Because he was firing off every round possible, and you could tell that those in the room had not had enough alcohol yet, so because they felt every one of those shots.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I'm with Two Beards on that one, where it comes down to I'm used to a sense of comedy where, look, you can get slammed and it's gonna be funny, and as long as it's funny, shut your mouth, because if you open your mouth, you're getting something worse. I was loving every minute of it. Like, I didn't think I would see something like that again. Not in that forum, at least, and that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot. I was like, geez, dude. It was like, and the thing that got me is like, usually when you see like somebody go in this hard, usually it's like a quick, let's cut to a freaking commercial, but they let it just go on and go on and go on and go on, and I was just like, wow. And evidently,
that surprised me too.
Evidently, he's been doing this, I guess, for a while, and it's just it almost seems like he's just like seeing, okay, how far can I take it this time? And he just goes in, man. I mean, he was just going in, man. And I thought the jokes were freaking hilarious, man. I thought it was hilarious, man. And him just consistently going, shush, when everybody was like, oh, he's like, nah, shush, nah, hush, hush, hush. Keep it going. He's like, I don't care. It just literally just kept going. He brought out racism. He brought out sexism. He brought everything. And it didn't matter. Pedophilia in Hollywood, it did not matter. He hit everything. And I applaud the man. I guess it's easier when you're British. You're not in America, so you don't have to worry or care about that stuff.
He's going to be going over, hopping right on the pond and leaving.
Yeah.
This reminded me. You know what I loved the most about it? It reminded me of that one moment in V for Vendetta when the one guy just gave zero fucks and he just went off. Like, you remember the one political commentator?
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what this reminded me of. I was just like, yo, like, is somebody about to try to off this dude when he walks off the stage?
Oh man. So do you guys think that NBC will be bringing back Ricky Gervais again? Because they seem to be bringing him back every year. Do you think after this year they're going to continue to bring him back? I'll go with you, Roku.
I have no idea.
Okay.
He said it's the last time. So we'll see.
Anything, Roku? What do you think?
I think they'll let him not do it next year, maybe the year after that, and it'll just kind of like a surprise comeback, and then he'll be like, I said that was my last one. They wouldn't let me go, type thing. And he'll ream them all out again. with 2 years worth of history that he can pull on.
Yeah.
He's like, they paid me more money to shit on y'all, so here I go.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think he'll be back, and the reason why I think he'll be back is simply this, right? When it comes to award ceremonies, no one cares about awards outside of maybe the Academy Awards, where everybody gets, they care about what, like the top 5 awards. What was the best movie? Who was the best actor and actress? Best director. The top 4 movies that topics or awards rather they care about. No one cares about the Golden Globes for TV, and I think having him come in and do these jokes and so forth encourages people to actually watch, just to see and hear live what he's going to say. So as harsh as he is, I think they're like, dude, here, take all the money you want. How much do we have to pay you? Come back next year, be just as cruel, if not worse, and let's redo this again. Yeah. So I think him being in all the eyes that were on the Golden Globes because of this, I think definitely he'll probably be back again next year. Or if, like Roku said, maybe he'll take off a year and then they'll be like, yep, guess who's back?
Yeah, he's probably going to shoot their rating. If they announce that he's hosting again, they'll probably shoot the ratings up because people will actually probably tune in to see him shit on people.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, I definitely see it.
So we are at the hour 27 mark. We're actually doing pretty good, a lot better than what I thought. So we got basically 2 more topics left. So actually 1 topic left, and then our what the fuck of the week, and then we'll close out the show. So let's go into topic number 6. And this is I guess this is a topic more to look insight on yourself as well as others, right? And it goes back into movies, which is very interesting. So Hollywood is the staple of most media, at least for most countries, right? So a lot of countries and so forth, they look at Hollywood as the thing to aspire towards, right? So we as Americans, we are born and bred from the ground up on the Hollywood system of what we see in terms of movies, right? But then there's a lot of stuff that we watch depending on ethnicity and culture and all that you'll watch. Usually that leans towards more your culture or other things, right? So it all depends. But the question I have is there a bias? And it doesn't have to be just America, but across other countries in terms of what you watch, right? So is it normal for people who are not African American to watch a show like Blackish, right? I think there's a lot of stuff that we'll probably get into, like a lot of what we will call accepted cultures that we will continue to watch. But overall, do you think there's a bias for people and viewers when they watch different contents in terms of representation? And I will go with you, Two Beards, first on this one and this topic.
100%.
Okay, go ahead. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, it's something that's just something that's just ingrained in you from not only just the shows that you watch when you were younger, but the people that you were around, the media itself. Like I will say that I feel personal opinion. I do feel that Black people probably consume the widest range of content.
I will tend to agree.
Because it's like we tend to be more open with that sort of thing. If I tell you that it's a cool show, you're gonna look at it. Like I've actually had people who actually feel too uncomfortable to watch something like Blackish or like Black Lightning or something like that, which I feel is completely stupid.
Yeah,
but it's just the way that people came up. It's one of those weird things like And one of the things I always find super interesting about that is that these same people, they look at people weird when they hear people of color or different genders saying that they want to see representation of themselves in big series and big TV shows and stuff like that. So I've always found that weird as well. It's like you're just up here admitting to me that you feel weird about watching Blackish or listen to a certain type of music because you feel that you're not allowed to, or if it's not for you. There's a comic that I actually draw that basically has a full Black people cast, like 95% of the characters are Black, and I've actually had longtime friends actually say to me that they felt weird because there was no white characters in the comic, and I was just like, that's stupid. And so then I was just breaking things down to them, and I'm just like, I'm like the comics for everybody. I'm like, it doesn't even actually say anything. There's nothing in it that's basically stopping you from reading it. It's the same thing as if you were reading any comic that has like an almost white cast to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you pick it up, you flip through it for the artwork and the story. If those both bomb to you, then you don't like it. But it's just like the skin color of the character shouldn't have anything to do with it. As a matter of fact, you might learn something from picking it up or watching the show. So yes, I do believe there is 100% bias.
Okay, cool. Roku, your take?
I genuinely have to co-sign this one, just because it's one of the statements that Two Beards made is fairly accurate. When it comes down to the vast majority of media, it seems like Black people tend to be the most broad. It comes down willing to expose themselves to various different cultures and experiences, because at least in America, we had to create a culture, so we're open to a lot of other people's culture. It tends to be those who either feel as though their culture is the default culture, or they're too ingrained in their own that they'd rather not touch on anything else. So yeah, it very much is a bias. It depends on very much upbringing. It depends on very much your heritage. It's a lot involved. I mean, like, for every bit of what I just said that it's opinion, it's also pretty factual at the same time. It's one of those things where, you know, it's an opinion as far as me saying it, but you can look around and see that I'm not wrong. So I don't know. It's to me, it's very much biased. It's sad. There's a lot of people, a lot of good, and they're doing it to themselves because of their own, for lack of a better way to put it, prejudices.
Yeah. I agree. So, yeah, I think y'all both nailed it. I agree with you 100%. And I know there's a lot of probably listeners who will come across this and say, but Khan, that's incorrect. I just watched Train to Busan, and to me, I go, well, that's like saying, hey, I have black friends too. I have that one black friend, you know. It's just the way I look at it. But I agree. I think definitely. I think you guys nailed it, especially with African American culture, that we're more open because of basically our culture being taken from us due to history, that we're more open to different things. Like my wife will watch, like she watches soap operas, but she doesn't watch like General Hospital and As the World Turns, you know, the normal soap operas that my mom and my grandparents may have watched, you know, back in the day. No, she watches like Korean dramas. I'm like, why are you subscribed to a Korean show watching Korean dramas? She's like, I just like the way the acting is, even though she doesn't understand half of the language. But you know, but it is what it is, you know. It's she has affinity towards, you know, Asian culture, but you know, but she watches a lot of different cultures because she's more accepting of it. She likes to look at it, and I'm trying to get out my bias, you know. There's certain things I probably like. I brought up, yeah, I'll watch a lot of Asian movies and stuff. I'll watch a lot of Spanish shows, like Netflix, right? Netflix is awesome. Like a lot of the shows that they watch, I'll watch with the original with subtitles, like Dark. I think that's like Swedish or Russian. I'll watch something like that. I like stories. So for me, I like to hear the original language because the inflections and the voices and everything are a lot different.
More weight.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, than the subtitles of somebody reading the script and trying to figure out what the person is supposed to say. But I agree. I think I'm trying to get past it. I'm going to put to you guys. I have an idea. What do you think we could do going forward to kind of curb a little bit of this bias for the next generations? And I'll start off with you, Roku, on this one.
I mean, it's not very hard, honestly. It's all about what you're willing to expose them to. For example, I wasn't sure if I really want to bring this up, but I do have children. And one of the things I made it a point of was, I'm like, you know what? They're going to be checking out some of the stuff that I check. And not in the sense of like a typical like parent would do. I'm like, no, I'm going to find the coolest stuff that I would watch, and we're going to watch it together. And they're going to see that there's more stuff, you know, to what you would normally see if I did expose you to. And even right now, as a prime example, one of my oldest daughters, she loves watching Korean dramas on Netflix. I'm just like, I sit there looking at her like, oh gosh, I didn't think you could go that far. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, but she's open to it now. It's one of those things where it's, you know, and it's like I didn't expect it, but it's just giving her that exposure has opened her up to be willing to look into other cultures that she probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Yep. Yeah. Two beers.
Something similar to what he says. I basically try to, whenever I'm in an environment or whether I'm teaching some kids or from hanging around my niece and her friends or something like that, I always try to, if they allow me, I try to introduce them introduce them to something different than what's a run of the norm. On a larger scale, me, Roku, the audience member that's normally here at Pain, I would say yourself as well. I feel that we're all doing our part to create characters and to give voices to different types of characters and ideas that people may have not normally have seen themselves. Like, sorry, so shameless self-plug coming up.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I plan on actually, well, I'm not planning on actually putting it together as we speak. I'm going to put out an actual art book for Dirt Cheap that actually talks about African lore and myths and stuff of that nature. So it's like we all know how cool Norse gods are. We all know how cool Greek mythology is. It's like we've heard it all throughout our lives, and we know how dope the stuff is.
Yep.
So it's like I think it would be pretty cool that actually people would actually see about the African gods and their lore as well. Like to bring to bring those characters to the table, to have kids and people of colors like actually see that the representations of myth and lore that actually look like themselves, and hopefully kids not of color will look at this stuff and they'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool as well. It made me misty-eyed on Halloween that I actually saw a white kid and an Asian kid dressed as Black Panther, because that's the sort of stuff I want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. So it's like
appropriation, man. It's appropriation. What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm going to explain that to all my brothers and sisters who get freaked out about like the appropriation thing all the time. I just want you to know, once again, this is my opinion. You think how you want, but I just always want you to know that there should be a line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation.
Yep.
Like no. if they appreciate your culture and acknowledge where it comes from, then that should make you happy. I can understand when they take your culture and act like they're the ones who created it. Then yes, you by all means like burn them, like scorch them to the earth. But the same thing of seeing like Black kids and Hispanic kids and stuff like that always dressed like Superman and Wonder Woman, but to see these two kids dressed as Black Panther, I was like, that's fucking awesome. That's the sort of thing I hope to do with my characters. Like, I hope that we do with all of our characters, get them popular enough to a point that the next generation that grows up, when they see a Black person, they may actually think of them in a different light than not the usual, like what the media has pushed for years upon years of the criminal or the drug dealer or something like that from every TV show. So, yeah, that's my my little spin.
It's got to start in our own communities, though.
Yeah. Most def.
You hear that, Tyler Perry? Sorry.
Hey,
what you talking about?
Hey. I take offense to when people attack Tyler Perry. I take a very much offense to people attack Tyler Perry. Yeah, you can say a lot of stuff you want to say, whether his stuff is good or bad. And
I'm joking. That was low-hanging fruit.
I want to address this real quick because a lot of people shit on Tyler Perry. A lot of people shit on Tyler Perry, right? And I say, as a people, you need to understand, as much as he makes crappy shit, which is fine. He makes and where he has movies that you may not agree with, or whether he wants to push, religion and a lot of stuff.
He does have some good stuff.
But the thing is, though, he's accomplished stuff that really no other person really has. I mean, the man beforehand created his own fucking black studio, something that I've been commissioning for a long time. Do people understand that Walking Dead is literally filmed on Tyler Perry's studio in Atlanta, as well as a lot of other movies that you don't know? I mean, think about that. They're not filmed on Paramount and all these other studios on, rich white guys. It's filmed on a black man's studio. I mean, from accomplishment, that's just mind blowing. Yeah. And I always say, because everybody's always like, well, you need to start making your movie. Well, we are making our movies. The only thing that African Americans need from a community standpoint is we need to create our own publishing and own publishing company to basically push it out and sell it to all the people. That's the one thing that's the problem, and that's what comes into like Byron Allen's lawsuit against Comcast and all this other stuff, is that our distributors, we don't have a distribution company that could distribute it worldwide, right, to all these groups, put it on channels and stuff. That's the one last part that we miss. And once we get to that point, then we can start putting out as much content and everything as we want, for it. But I know, trust me, there's a lot of crappy shit, man.
You and nigga, you gave me a newfound respect for him, especially like the.
I knew that stuff, so like I joke in some regards, like I said.
Yeah, I know. I'm tired of Medea. I know. I trust me. I 100% agree with you. I'm tired of some of it, but at the same time, and I think
he has done some incredible things. He has done some very, very good.
But at the same time, I know people are like, well, you need to be better. But at the same time, there's an audience for that garbage, right? It's not maybe too lowbrow for you, but there's an audience of people who enjoy a lot of that stuff. And one thing that helped me to realize that is like when I look at Blackish, right, the show, like you got Dre and you got him, but when he goes in the office, his job, for those who don't watch it, everybody's a caricature, an extreme caricature of all the different characters, right? So he has his one black friend who's the stereotypical absentee father, who's lazy, all the black stereotypes that usually come. That's who that character is, and he's an extreme version of that. But there are people who are unfortunately like that, and that's the content, that's their identification. So he makes stuff for them as well as highbrow stuff where all the black people are all lawyers and doctors and they're dealing with normal real life shit. So he hits all spectrums.
So he tends to deal with the extreme version of black men ain't shit. That's bread and butter, right?
I think he's got past that.
Payne says he stays in his lane.
Yeah. He does. But I think he's the start of where we need to be. But back to what you guys were saying, I think I agree with you all. We need to, I think both you, Roku, and you, Two Beers, alluded to it. Unfortunately, from our standpoint, African Americans, I think, are more open to it. So if you want to kind of get rid of bias, I think for our other cultures, you guys have to start being accepting of stuff outside your culture, right? So like you have to start watching black cartoons, black shows, Spanish cartoons, Spanish shows, Indian, all that stuff, right? You have to start introducing, and people are going to disagree with me, but LGBT and all that stuff, you got to introduce it, not in the mindset of saying, oh well, this is what you should be, but to get children and all ready to that understanding, so that when they have to experience it, it's not off-putting, like, oh my god, this is so against everything I know. If you introduce that to them, whether they agree with it or they don't, it's not as much of a surprise, and they're more willing to accept it early than later on. Like if you're a white guy who's never really seen black people before, and you go to a university and there's all these black people, and you're like, well, what the fuck is this shit? You're going to automatically be off-put and have biases and all this other stuff because you've never seen it before. You don't understand, and everything you've been attributed to have been whatever you saw on TV and shows, and which are caricatures. So I think that we definitely need to do it. In our private Discord, I posted like different things to what Two Beers was saying about more African lore, but like there's a short video called Malika on YouTube, Malika. I suggest everybody take a look at it. It's a 3D animated movie about a African warrior queen. I think it's awesome. And then there's an a short comic called Black Sands. They started redoing a lot of their stories. I think those are cool stuff. And it's like these things I look at, and the reason why this question came in, it's like it would have been cool to see these things on TV, but you'll never see them on TV, right? We don't get those, But yeah, so real quick, I was going to read the Payne comment. So once again, for all those, we're coming to it. Shoot the Shit tapes and records every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, until whenever we shut down. Come and join the chat. We will read your comments. We will interact. And Payne also says you don't introduce it to them through TV. You take them to meet those people face to face. I agree, but for most people, most things, the first thing you see is not so much as seeing the people. It is TV, because that's just the way people are. The first thing with a lot of kids, I hate to say, and this is 90%, most of their exposure they get is straight from an iPad. That's just like their parents and family and friends, and then an iPad. And that's their experience to the world. And that's like their first thing they ever touch for a lot of families. So I agree with you.
Also,
Go ahead.
That also means that there has to be a lot more positive examples.
Exactly.
Because if all you're pushing is a stereotype, you're not helping anyone.
Exactly. And that's why, as Two Beers was saying, we have to be more inclusive in stuff that you show. Would have most people seen Black Panther? Well, most people really, a lot of people saw Black Panther, but a lot of people didn't see Black Panther until it was on Netflix. But still, would people have seen Black Panther if it wasn't a Marvel product? Probably most likely not as much as it did. But being part of Marvel allowed people to go see it. And I think that's what we need to do. It's not catering to things as, hey, introducing you, hey, there are actual heroes and other stories that aren't you in your culture that maybe you might like. So here, take a look at it.
Yeah, but
essentially, don't be Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
With Payne brought up, I fully agree. One of the things that I used to toot to people that I thought was one of the best things about college is that it always forced you to be around people out of your comfort zone and people from different walks of life that you never would have met in your in the area that you came from, especially if you were one of the people who stuck to the same county for the majority of your life. So I'm completely against safe spaces. I hate them. I feel that echo chambers are a big reason we're in part of the big amount of issues that we have now. So I feel you can never actually you're going to believe the stereotypes that come out that are fed to you. You're going to believe that the myths and the stupid stories and stuff like that until you're actually one-on-one with that person and you're actually getting to see that they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you, that they work just like you, that they're going through struggles and stuff like that you have you have common things going on and common backgrounds, that the differences actually become cool and not scary because you fear the unknown. Those were the best parts of college to me and opened my eyes up to so many different things. So
Okay.
So I do like that. I do love that part about it, and I do, for the love of God, hate echo chambers and safe spaces. But college isn't the same as it was when we all went. Now kids demand safe spaces at their college.
Yeah.
So now they're going to school and they're actually separating themselves from each other as soon as they get into school, which is sad. Yeah. So it's a lot of work cut out.
So let me read this one last comment. So Payne says, but why most kids from around the world see black people and think we are called Doughboy, Ice-T, or Young. And I guess he's referring to basically the portrayals that we have. So when it comes to comment on that, Payne, when it comes to other countries, it's not much you could do. But when you look at countries like, say, the UK and in America, where it's like a melding, and even Canada, where it's more like a melding pot of a lot of different cultures, I think at that point you have to be more representative of what you show. Like India, I don't expect India to show African movies or African shows and stuff like that, right? And unless those countries start to incorporate and become more cross in terms of culture, and I know like other cultures, a lot of Asian cultures are, believe it or not, which seems weird, they're paying for other cultures to come in and actually interbreed with their culture, which seems kind of weird because of other things like low population and other problems that they have. But still, until more countries or melding pots of cultures like America, UK, and Canada, I don't expect them and their ideas of what they see to change, right? But as America, they have to basically change and make everything more culturally appropriate, right? And get past a lot of these horrible stereotypes that we have, right? So you have, like, show more black lawyers, show more people with different cultures being the normal jobs and running mills, right? You know, like a normal black family, normal Hispanic family, normal Asian family, you know? Just show that, hey, they're people too, and they have all the same problems as anybody else who's, you know, Caucasian. And the last one he says is, yeah, but they hold the children hostage if you have any. I don't know what that comment means.
See, yeah, but they hold children hostage if you have any.
Yeah, I have no clue. But you as a parent, yeah, but you as a parent have control over what what you expose your children to. So at the same point as Rokku was stating with his children, it is ultimately does fall on the parents' job to expose them to things not only that are within their community, but outside their community to allow them to, you know, understand that things are of all shapes, sizes, and looks, and so forth. So, any other things, Rokku or Two Beers, before we move on to our end of the show topic, the what the fuck of the week?
Nope.
No, I'm pretty tapped out on that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at the what the fuck of the week. So he says, speak to somebody other than the African brothers who gave married to China. Oh, I can't comment on all that and the biases of other countries. I can only, like I said, you're talking about countries that have only known basically their own culture and their own history, and you're interjecting other cultures. That's totally different than something where your whole country is a meld of other countries and cultures. Yeah. So that's totally different.
Yeah, because that way there is just colonization 2.0. That's a whole different thing.
Yes, that's totally different. Yes, that's totally different. that's an issue that they gotta work on. But what the fuck? So we at the end, for those who are new, we always try to do a thing that makes you scratch your head, a topic. And our what the fuck week topic is about a Michigan man who was cannibalized by his Grindr date on Christmas of all times. So we're going to real quickly, those who are in Twitch, we're going to listen into a police report. There's one thing about this police report from the parents that had me scratching my head. And I think it comes to that culture thing. So I want to real quickly play this for everybody. And we're going to take a real quick pause. So let's do it. So, thank you, folks. But the first thing I found that was off with this video was the parents talking about he had a dark side. Now, for those who don't know, Grindr is basically a site for basically men on men to go out and hook up and have sexual relationships. So when they said dark side, were they talking about him being homosexual? Like what from this means dark side? Who wants to handle this?
I'm like, why would you even say that about like your son that just got murked? Like, just go off and like just talk about outside of that weird way that they were describing and saying that we all make mistakes. Like, I'm like, that's they were coming off weird the way they were speaking about their kid.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the biggest thing to take out of this is just the whole rule of even with these dating sites and stuff like that, you just got to be careful because you never know. Like, you're reading a profile or maybe even conversating with somebody, but you never know what the person's going to be like when you meet up with them.
Yeah.
They try to bring a little bit of humor into like such a dark story. Like, as soon as he saw that dude, he should have turned and went the other way.
That dude looked like a fucking creep.
Yeah. This motherfucker looked like a Vince McMahon wrestling gimmick and shit. Like that. It's Barbecue Bill coming down to the ring. Like, you see this dude's beard and like his face and everything. Like that's like some old, like, what's the? I'm sorry, I'm gonna say some dumb shit, but that as soon as you saw that guy's appearance, he should have been like, nope, and just turned around and went the other way.
Exactly.
So like
Roku.
I mean, look, obviously, these two dudes were looking for two completely different type of grinders. So
pretty much.
Oh no!
I mean, and the dude's name being Bacon does not help it at all.
Yeah,
that does not help.
Yeah, it's funny. His name is actually Kevin Bacon, just like the actor. Oh man,
That's terrible, man.
That's crazy, dude.
It's tragic. It's sad that something like this happened. Like Kurt said, let people know what's going on. Like, don't just meet a stranger like that. But
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, I know these things are all about hookups and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, it's like if you like any person who looks like that, that's a red flag. If dude looks like he if he looks like he hunts moose with his bare hands, you should turn around and leave. It looks like he cooks his food with a hot rock in the backyard. Turn around and go off.
Come on, man. Come on. I know he had the crazy look. I agree.
Yeah, he did. That dude looks like he plays dominoes with his toenails. Like go the other way around, turn and go.
100%. Like, yo, you really should be watching this.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
So Payne does the classic Bill Duke line, you don't fucked up, right? And he said the only reason why this is all over is probably due to dude's name. I'm sure they probably from a story aspect, you could say Kevin Bacon killed and cannibalized, you're going to get 1 million of clicks on it, even though it's not the actor.
Not that Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. There is definitely some truth to names with famous celebrities driving clicks and so forth. But yeah, that's kind of fucked up, dude. Dude most
Very
likely cut off his manhood and ate. And they said he found him hanging. Dude, that's just wow.
Yep.
But you know what? I hate to say it like this, but it's probably one of those, like, it makes you wonder, what was his last words? Eat a dick, because it sounds
Oh, not right.
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My question is, I wonder, has this guy done this before? Are there any other bodies that have disappeared that he's eaten?
Like, was this his first, or was he doing this? Was he doing this for a hot minute?
Yeah.
Based on his appearance, it looks like he was.
I'm just curious. It's like you would think, if you're doing dating sites and all that stuff, there would have to be some kind of attraction when you look at it. I mean, this dude, he just looks like the lost Wyatt brother.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
He just wants to go out. I mean, he just looks like if I was doing it, if that was my thing, and I looked at, I would have I would have been like, nope. I would have backed right the hell off as soon as I saw him at the door. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting a call. Exactly. I got to talk to you later.
Yeah, hold on, I got to get something from the car. Jump in that bitch and pull over.
Yeah. Wow.
Those old horror movies where they got the old miner who's always warning the kids not to go up to the warning the kids they should turn around and head back to town now. That's what that dude look like, man.
Oh, man.
He looks like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like, you pulled the mask off and it's him. Old Man Withers. I would have ate all of them if it wasn't for you kids. That pesky dog.
I would have ate all the dicks if it wasn't for the police. jokes aside, rest in peace, young man. That's a horrible fucking way to die.
It's a sad way.
And you know that's really horrible that your parents are like that they spoke to you the way that they did at the news conference. So it's like but I hope that his death isn't in vain and it just goes. One night stands aren't everything, and if you do not feel safe in the environment, I don't care how horny you are or what you're into, like it's okay to turn around and leave, like you're like live another day. Yep. So
yeah, it sounds like his parents almost sound like they didn't know he was gay. So
yeah.
They're like, he had a darker side, but he loved all the people he taught, but he had a darker side. I'm like, did was the Grindr thing come here and let's eat people? Now, if it says something like that, then I'd be like, okay, but it's Grindr. I can only
if he was into eating people as well, then I'm like, okay. All right.
So real quick, Payne says he agrees with us. He thinks he ate those other people and ground up the bones, and he says y'all shouldn't be laughing because y'all could be next. Then Cannibals is out there, and they're like, no, he sold them out. But yeah,
I'm good. I got my wife. I'm not meeting with anybody weird looking.
Yeah, I agree. Eat a dick. Oh my goodness.
I'm not trying to see what the crazy woman's mouth do. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
We've all heard the rule. Never don't stick your dick in crazy.
Yeah. He said you don't got to meet for them dates talking about you can run into them. That is true. But I'm very cautious when I run into people and who I invite and where I go. So.
Yep.
Oh, man. I think that was a pretty good show, folks. Wow, we hit the 2-hour mark, which is where I was suspecting. Us. We usually try to go about an hour and a half, but I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. And Rokku, thank you for being a guest on the show. Before we go, can you tell the good folks, your Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use for them to maybe contact you at? And give us a little bit of information. And if you have anything, like projects or anything that you want people to look at, let us know. Go ahead. It's all yours,
anything
sir.
Anything you want to promote?
Well, my Instagram is just a literal just whatever. So like, if you want to take an experience, just the whatever it is that I'm doing at that moment. You can check me out on Instagram at j.u.nice_designs. As far as my Twitter goes, at JUNiceDesigns on Twitter. And if you just want to take and just see any work that I've done as far as artwork goes, you can check me out on junice.artstation.com. Beyond that,
nice.
Anything I'm working on will just pop. You'll gradually just see stuff every now and then just show up. Want to do.
Awesome. And Mr. Two Beards, my co-host, thank you for having me back. For those who don't know, me and Two Beards every Tuesday usually do in our streaming same channel, we do a Con versus Two Beards where the loser has to face a punishment. Last week we heard the wonderful vocals of Two Beards, which will be available on our YouTube folks, which the link is down below. It will be available on our YouTube by Saturday, so you can listen and watch and see all that. But go ahead, Mr. Two Beards. I'm glad to have you back this week. We missed you last week.
Thank you.
Go ahead and give everybody all your contact information.
If you want to hit me up on Twitter, it's you can either look under Scorpio Report or Bitsaki. My Instagram is also Bitsaki. I have not posted anything on my Instagram in almost a year. Blame your mother. But other than that, I do plan on posting on it soon. So yeah, you can hit me up there. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'll have more updates and more stuff popping off because 2020 is going to be a great fucking year. That's the new mantra. So as soon as that stuff is actually up and running, I will start announcing it on this very podcast.
Awesome. And I am your host, Khan. I am the founder of the KNOE. And for those who are in the KNOE stands for Know Nothing, Opinion on Everything. Is the state of the internet where people who have no information or knowledge on any subject, but still feel the need to give and share their opinion. So it's a play off of that. So yes, I am the founder of the KNOE. You can find me on my YouTube and Twitch. If you're listening live, you already know it is ARN as in Nancy, GM, and that's for both YouTube and Twitch. And if you want to holler at me on the tweets, you can find me. If you want me to answer back, you can follow me at Mobies. And if you want to just stay up to date to all the stuff that's happening on the show, it's at ARN Games. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. This podcast will be released on Spotify, Wooshka, and iTunes Monday morning. We will be following up. We're an episode behind on our delivery, so Saturday, Sunday, we'll also have episode 4, last week's show up for those. And as far as YouTube goes, for the YouTube version, well, I don't have any editors. So if you guys have editors, let me know. I will get the YouTube to you whenever I can get it to you, because I am a busy person. But thank you once again, Roku, for coming out. Hopefully we could get you back on the show again in the future.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Gladly, come back and do this again. This was really, like, I would gladly do it.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, we all like to have fun here. And thank you to all the people who stopped by, lurked, all that wonderful stuff. We love you whether you hate us or not. And until our paths cross again, wait, dude, Two Beers, we still don't have an outro, sir. I'm leaving that up to him. It's on to you, sir, to give us an outro for our next show. We are way behind. Jeez, we definitely need one. All right, everybody, peace out and have fun. Enjoy the weekend.
Peace.
Peace.